into the kitchen, you saw the look on my face, you saw the look on my heart to get out of this place. I seen something I've never seen before. When you put on the pineapple, we couldn't be friends anymore. Pineapple thousands, go on pizza. It's a fruit and you know that. Pineapple doesn't go on pizza. They just don't belong.
Oh man, I like this framing. This is good. Can I manage to stay right here? See, I feel like maybe you just need to come a little bit closer. So here's what I read the first week of August. I've been bullet journaling on all of the books that I've read throughout the month in this cute little notebook. I started out this month reading Fire by Kristen Kishore. Really liked it, gave it 4 stars. I loved the prologue with Lek, it really drew me in. I was like waiting for him to reappear. He is totally creepy, and the way that he kills his fathers, like, oh yeah, let's get into the brutality. I want some cold-hearted killing in this book. Whenever they come up to descriptions of Lek, I just think of child Voldemort. Part of Fire's character is that she is part monster, and so all of the monsters around her can smell her blood when she is on her period. So they come after her whenever she's on her period, and she has like extra guards follow her around every month during her period. It's just a great part of the story. You always know when her period's coming up. She talks about her PMS. And she even like has some of her guards bring her chocolate sometimes during her period, and I'm just like, can I please get a guard posse to bring me chocolate during my period? Yes, please. Fire is seen as absolutely attractive by everyone who looks at her, and her fiery hair is just enchanting. And the whole time I'm reading this, thinking about this bright fiery hair and this really pretty girl, I'm just thinking, this is Sasha Alsberg with a bunch of scars on her face, basically. Right? At some point I wrote down that everyone starts chanting, fire, fire, fire. And I don't remember this scene, but I'm pretty sure it's because I blacked it out of my memory. Her hair basically makes everyone like lose control as soon as they see it. They just like have to have her, you know? People can kind of start to see her more as a person as they get to know her, and that's kind of annoying. And I'm just throughout the book thinking maybe her hair is like a metaphor for rape culture, because literally the love interest comes in and starts like attacking her, trying to have sex with her basically, and he says, oh well, you know, the hair just took control of me. And later it's just kind of addressed and it's kind of dismissed. It's really Archer is gross because he's possessive. He can go off and have sex with literally anyone that he wants, but Fire isn't allowed to so much as look at a dude. If she mentions a guard's name, like she remembers the guard and remembers his name, Archer's like, no, he can't guard you anymore. You're having sex with like literally everyone. Finally, Fire breaks up with Archer, and I'm so happy, and then we find out that he was having sex with several of her guards who are underage. Like, one of them is 15. Fire kind of addresses it. She's like, you had sex with a 15-year-old? And he's just kind of like, she wanted it, she's happy, she's sleeping in my bed, it's fine. And then it's never addressed again that he was having sex with a 15-year-old. And oh, that's why I had to bring down the rating of this book. Oh my god, I got so mad. Then Archer gets both of the teenagers that he was having sex with pregnant, and then he gets himself killed, and we don't even get to watch him die. I really liked Fire's character. I feel like I'm complaining about this book too much, but Archer pissed me off. Sorry, family-friendly content. Archer made me mad. Do STDs just not exist in this realm, or like, nah, because it's like never mentioned. Archer's having sex with everybody. And they don't have condoms. They have the girls take herbs afterwards, and he doesn't make sure that they take herbs afterwards, and it's just for pregnancy, you know, it's just like birth control. Just because I hate Archer doesn't mean that I hate this book. Just because I hate one character and a lot of aspects of him doesn't mean that the whole book was bad. I just feel like he's most of what I want to talk about because he was so aggravating. Then Fire decides officially that she's not going to have kids, and she takes some herbs to permanently make it so that she can't have kids. I can totally relate. But then she's sad about it, and she's like looking at Archer's impregnated teenagers and like, I wish that my belly was swelling. Can't relate. I loved how Fire had infertility representation because I feel like I don't know of any character off the top of my head who can't have kids, and that's like really talked about. Fire decides not to have children because of the way that she just takes over minds, and she has too much power, and she also hates having to have guards around her every month, and she doesn't want to do all that to a kid, and those are basically her reasons behind not doing it. Because like her father was the same as her, and he was a total douche, totally took over everything, totally abused his power. He needed to die. She killed him. It was great. People killing their parents in this book, totally brutal. It was sad. Loved the, difference. I don't normally see that many people killing their parents. I love how smart Fire is. I love how she navigates her world and tests out people's powers. Oh my god. I'm sorry. My dogs are gonna bark when I start talking loud, and there's like nothing I can do about it. I love how smart Fire is. I love how she tests out people in her world. I love how she tests out Lex's powers. I love how she figures out that he doesn't know when his power has stopped working on someone. He can't read into minds. He can just control them. I love just the depth there. It's great. I love Fire's ability to go into minds. There's a lot of romances I've found in YA fantasy where the people who are meant to be together can somehow talk to each other in their minds. When I read this, it took the place of most disappointing book of the year. This could have gone so many places. It didn't go those places. It went some weird places. Let's take a look at my notebook. I hate how our main character claims that she's a feminist, but she obviously just hates all other women who are not her mother. Her mother's a cocktail waitress, and she defends her right to dress however she wants, which is great, That's fine. But then she sees her stepsister and describes her as, and I quote, always a bit too uncovered, even at home. I'm sorry, do people not normally, take their pants off at home? Or, wear shorts? Or get into their pajamas and just be more relaxed in general? What do you mean, even at home? Wouldn't you, if you were going to be uncovered and, a modest person of all places, be uncovered at home? I don't understand. There's a dude who helps her out throughout the story, and he comes into her life and she describes him as a skinny beanpole. Love that body positivity. There was just some weird writing in here that pulled me out, and I just had to say, what? My voice was a skeleton leaf. Her voice was a skeleton leaf. His eyes were the color of coke with sun shining through it. Or you could say brown. The dull look of a dog waiting for its food. The dull look? This person has obviously never met Xena. At some point, she goes back to her house, and her mom's been kidnapped, and her stepdad points a fucking gun at her. And then she's like, not scared, whatever, he's just pointing again. And later she's like, I know, he wouldn't have actually shot me. How? How do you know he wouldn't have actually shot you? Is there something here that I didn't read? Is there like a paragraph of... No, like, literally, if someone is pointing a gun at you and it is loaded and they have like their finger on the trigger, you do not know that they would not have shot you. You do not. You simply don't. Also, her mom is with that asshole in the beginning and we never really get a reason for it. Like, I thought there was going to be some reason, kind of like in Percy Jackson, where she was with that guy because his scent masked Percy's blood or something, so people wouldn't come looking for him. It was something like that, at least in the movies. I didn't read the books, I'm sorry. No, we never really got a reason for her mom being with this guy. She was just with this asshole, points guns at people, and treats her kind of like crap. He's not cute. We don't stan, as the children say. And then it winds up that her mom isn't her mom. She's actually another fairy tale character from this book, and she's really Alice 3 times from this book land, and she's meant to be in this fairy tale world, and then she somehow gets out, and when she was on her way there, her friend who helped her get there dies, but then they get out, and he's not dead because convenient, and wasn't feeling it. Then when she came back, it was like 2 years later, or a short amount of time later, but long enough that she would have been out of high school. So she changes all of her birth certificates and stuff so that she can live through her high school life. She wants to go back to high school? Can't relate. In the beginning, this girl won't wake up when she's born, and her aunt has to like come to her and she whispers a word to her, and that word wakes her up. And since this story is called The Goose Girl, I bet her aunt woke her up by saying the word goose. They marry her off because she's a disappointment, and it was supposed to be her younger sister who gets married off, but they're like, nah, we don't like you anymore for some reason. I don't know, it was a while ago that I read this, but I'm just glad that they had a backup kid. Horses really are the dogs of fantasy. A lot of the time, when you want a character to have a beloved pet, they have it have a horse that has this wonderful personality. And then, you know what? Just like dogs, the horse has to die. The horse has to die, and I'm sad again. Her parents send her off to get married, and then her guard, who actually wants to protect her, gets separated from her when the rest of her party tries to kill her and replace her with her lady-in-waiting because they had this whole conspiracy going about whatevers. There's a quote from the book that I absolutely loved. "No more crying. It's all wetness and no comfort at all. She describes how she makes her own eyebrow dye, and I love that. She makes lots of friendships, she learns how to be humble and be like a peasant girl. She winds up being a goose girl who helps herd geese, and it's really great. You know, she can like kind of talk to animals, but she can't really talk to geese, which is like, of all animals to work with, she finds one that she's not really familiar with their language. She gets reunited with her guard, and it's a really sweet moment, and I'm all happy again. When Anya goes in to reveal herself, she and her posse ride in formation like a flock of geese. This book is fantastic! While Anya is pretending to be a goose girl, she falls in love with this nobleman who loves horses and lets her ride his horse. And she doesn't let him know that like her beloved horse is dead, but he can like tell that she really loves horses and he's not gonna ride the horse anyway, and they just like build a relationship and it's cute. And then when she goes in to reveal herself, she finds out the guy that she fell in love with is actually the prince she's supposed to be betrothed to. Yes! Yes! The lady in waiting is called Celia. At the end, Celia's like trying to flee with Anya, like, oh no, we could just leave me as the princess and we'll do this. She's like trying to finesse her way out of this, and it's like, you really think Anya's gonna listen to you? She just went undercover as a goose girl for months, and you think that you're on the same level. Really wasn't impressed by The Devouring Grey. I can't remember what about it made me even give it 3 stars at this point. I have been reading a lot of books. I think I was just trying to be nice because I really liked the setup in the beginning. All of their parents sucked. There was lots of gray morality. Feel like the interesting events weren't played out enough. We start out with a girl going to an old house with her mom. She's got an aunt with dementia. I thought it was going to be great. There would be like funny times with the aunt with dementia. You know, it would be like some comedic relief. We would see her doing some crazy, wacky things. No, we didn't get that. I was like so hopeful. And then it was just like, oh, more of the Devouring Grey. Like, you could have added layers and you just made it all the gray. It's all the gray. I was sad. I liked that there was a character with one hand. You know, I thought that was cool. It was like supposed to be some like disability representation, but it really just was more of a mystical element, and I don't feel like she talked much about like phantom limb and pains and stuff like that could have helped with like adding some representation, even if it's a fantasy book. You know, that would have been great. I mean, they like mention that Violet is bi. I think someone else is bi in here. I kind of stopped taking notes. Some books, like The Devouring Grey, I didn't have much to say about. Then, some books were a completely different scenario. I even doodled a little bit. Look at that. That was what I read in the first week of August. I hope that you enjoyed some of these books, or you want to check some of them out. Maybe my ranting is interesting to you. I do not know. I emoted too much and now I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Love the, different. I don't normally see that many people killing their parents. I don't know, it happened in Star Wars. Didn't it? Oh god. Can I not remember Star Wars anymore? Am I even a nerd?
You want to be in the video? Yeah. This is Nina.